How do we take co-working up to the next level? We've been going for a few weeks now, a few years. We've got a good team together where, it's pretty much just Edward, Taz, and me coming together. We've got some great skills within the team. And so then now is the question of about, right, how do we grow? So I've done the survey, Monkey, and I am just going to say to Zavi, can you put yourself on mute? I
Yeah.
can hear you. Nice. It's a shame you're not sharing that with us. If we were at co-working face to face, I would have said, "Can I have a half?" But I think we've been discussing. We've had some really good ideas about how we can take co-working to the next level, how we can grow. But then the question still arises: well, in which way are we going to grow? And then who are we going to target? Now, the reality is there's only going to be a certain amount of people that we can really sort of host in one group of co-working. Like, if we've got 40 people coming in today, we can't have real conversations. So we're at a really nice point. We've got a really good energy. And one of the suggestions is, yeah, we take on more people, as in co-workers, and looking at Newini on on Mukhtar's platform here, we've had quite a few people already thumbs up. It's gone to 7 now as well, and that is the case of marketing and branding, focusing on getting paying clients to co-working. So it may not be necessary, and it's very unlikely that they would want to become part of co-working, but they'll be looking for services, and there is a massive opportunity within the market. So you've got two fields at the moment. One is that if you're looking for a freelancer, you go to somewhere like Upwork or Fiverr. That level is generally sort of more on the cheaper level. So the sort of personas of people that use those services are looking for a really good deal, cheap, low as possible. Then you've got another type of persona, which is that they're happy to pay more, but they want good service, and they'll go to somewhere like a one-stop digital marketing agency. So all the services are done by one person, so they don't need to faff around by going to different places. Now, most of us will know that a lot of digital marketing agencies, they don't actually have a lot of experience skills within, and it's generally the people that pay more will get the more experience. And if you're using them for the first time you're coming in, you may end up someone servicing you that's an apprentice that's still training, where you're still paying good money for it. Where what we're sort of suggesting is, let's come in the middle here. So those personas that are looking for a good service and they're willing to pay more, they want someone local, that's where co-working can come into it. The great thing that's different about us and platforms such as Upwork is that Upwork members, or freelancers, they're not connected to one another. We don't know how they work, how they get the knowledge, whereas from us, we're connected to different industries and we know what's going on. So we're able to execute to a high level. We're interested in learning, and at the same time, we could become a one-stop shop for as a digital marketing agency alternative. So I'm going to have a look at some of the things that we've got from the survey that I'd done, and it'd be good to get a bit of an explanation more on that. And I'll go through the list in the order that I've received it back. Once that's done, we'll turn off the recording, and then if there's any more sort of contributions, then that will be ideal. So first of all, it's David, and then it's Stephanie. So David, you were mentioning about having more meetings. It'd be good to hear from yourself more about that.
Yeah, well, I mean, unfortunately, the only time you're going to see me on a Wednesday is when I'm not busy. So if you see me, business isn't going well. But yeah, I mean, I guess I don't know how many other people, like in a client-orientated business, where they're seeing people, kind of every day they were sort of working. Obviously, that they have less time to fit in kind of meetings like this. So I was just thinking, it's still really good to meet up with you guys, but I personally I couldn't do it that often. But whether there are other times of the week that maybe a smaller number of people would like to get together and chat about their businesses and problem solve together and help each other.
Sounds good. One of the things that I did also like as well with what you put down was having sort of specific sessions for different purposes. So, if we were going to have a session on, something that you do in terms of from the, if someone's in a low mood, what can you do? But in different sessions, having more of a focus field, I think that's good. Even if we were to do video calls as well, something that's a little bit more specific. It could be training, it could be sharing out to other people as well, with what we do. But the sort of focus is be more specific. Um, let's go over to Stephanie. One of the things that you said was virtual meetups. Let's hear more about some of the ideas that you've put there to grow co-working.
Yeah, well, really, I suppose in the same vein, it doesn't obviously have to be in working hours. I mean, this is a weird time. We all know it's a weird time for COVID, but under normal circumstances, for example, there are an awful lot of business network groups, that some of which, either suit your business and suit you personally, and others not so much. I don't. I like the idea of co-working. I think it's much more relaxed, and I think it's much more supportive. I think sometimes, I've been to networking events where people are so evidently straight away uninterested. If they realise that you are not going to be in the market for their services, it's actually a little bit rude. Whereas this is much more supportive and working together, very much co-working. But I like the idea of somewhere they're perhaps in the evening or sometimes at breakfast time. And I can't do that because I've got a family, and it makes it much more difficult. But a video call, virtual, like a Zoom meeting for an hour, is much, much more readily able to be done. So that's really where I was coming from. I think that it would be good to have, maybe even twice a week, so that even if you only dip in once a week or something like that, it would be good to keep it going, really. And I really like the supportive aspect of it. It's not really necessarily about each of us necessarily using each other's services, although obviously that would come into it, but it's about being there as a proper support. BNI is a network group. Whether you like it or not, people have very differing views. What is good about them, there are a lot of things that I'm not so keen on, but what is good about them is they do tend to have different, very varied services. They'll keep one person from one industry. They're very selective like that. And I think we've got a really good mix going on here. There's not really competing within, is there? Which is great.
Yeah, certainly. And I think with one of our core ethos is that people buy into people, and it's more about our personality. So although you may have two web designers or two, SEO agency people, we'll have our own skill sets, our own focus and how we work. And a lot of times people buy into not exactly what you do, but it's how you do it as well. So, it's a case of rather than competing, let's collaborate. Andrew, from yourself, it'll be good to hear some of your ideas. One of the interesting things that you put down as well was of having external interviews. Let's hear it from you.
Yeah, so I think I sort of second what everyone else has said so far, just having like online meetings as well, even like after we return to more normality, where we can have physical meetings, just having like the online meetings. And it, like I said, both sort of like internal and external, sort of like we did with Rupinder last time, perhaps with like more of a question and answer sort of thing. So if anyone is interested in their services, things like that, you can ask questions and that sort of thing. But for the marketing side, just say bringing external people in, doing sort of like an interview perhaps, just to get different people involved and sort of tap into their network a little bit as well, and get some different ideas. But I think more to start with, more the internal, like the people that are here learning a bit more in depth about their businesses, what they do, that sort of thing.
Okay, thank you. Didn't have anyone approaching myself to be interviewed. Probably should have said it last week. So if you did want to be interviewed, it'd be good to share it, and it'd be good for us to hear more about yourself as well. So do approach me about that. Mukhtar, you're up next. Your thoughts of growing co-working, and one of the things that you put on the survey was about doing podcasts, turning the content into podcasts.
Yeah, actually, I wanted to add to the point that Andy was talking about here. I think it'd be a great idea, along with the podcast thing, where if the survey monkeys that you do, which is pretty good, if just trying to understand what people want to talk about. If everybody has a specific type of issue that might be similar, whoever in the co-working group has the most experience or is in a position to, solve a problem or can collaborate with these people, if we could focus on them and be like, okay, do you want to talk about this specific thing since you have an expertise in this area? For example, if it's a digital marketing issue that a few people are facing, then we'd get, an expert in that field to come and talk to us about that. I think that would be quite interesting. And the podcasting was similar to the way we were recording this, where if we could turn this into, this recording into small chunks of value that we could share across social media. For example, a specific topic that we talk about for about 5 minutes, if we cut that section and then post that with a title saying we talked about digital marketing issues in this part, just so then this one recording that we do throughout the week can be cut into small pieces that we could share across our social medias. So I think that would be quite interesting to see how that would work.
Thank you for that. I think that's going to be something really simple for me to execute on that as well. So on the next SurveyMonkey, I'll certainly be putting that on in terms of challenges and then matchmaking there. So that's a really good idea. Edward, you're up next. It will be good to hear from yourself in terms of how we can grow co-working.
Yeah.
What?
So yeah, I think. Yeah.
No, over to yourself, mate.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah, I think it'll be important to, like Stephanie says, the support aspect. I think that's really important because that will continue to attract new people. It's just, if it's a supportive group, then people will want to join. So that's important. In terms of growing it, and you're talking about the numbers is an issue as well. I agree that would get an issue. So probably if we do cap it, then we want to make sure the people that are in the group are varied and non-competing as well, and all adding value to each other. So I'd say my more focus is more on making the group that we've got support each other, but I also understand that we need to grow, we need promotion as well. So then if we did decide to keep the numbers down, then it's not so much about growing the group to get more people in, because we're saying we've got a limit on it. But what is it? What is the growth then? Is it more about, like you say, attracting businesses that want services? Is that part of the growth strategy? I don't know. We'll have to think about it.
Yeah, certainly. It'll be a good sort of conversation point, and it will take, months to build the brand around it in terms of the clear direction. But it would be the case. I quite like using the analogy of Airbnb. On their platform, as well as, if it's Amazon, eBay, what do they put first on their front page, on their homepage? Is it the case for Amazon to say, hey, look, become a seller of products? Airbnb, is it the case that you become a host, put your house on there? A lot of times it's the front end service. That's the first thing that you see. And that's the same sort of idea with co-working. The front thing that you see is about, we're professional services here. You can come and buy. In terms of people that want to become part of co-working, become part of the co-working, that I believe will happen quite naturally, just like Amazon, eBay, Airbnb. So that's something that we can discuss in greater detail.
So are you sort of saying that we're basically building a platform where other people can then build their co-working groups on it? Is that the idea?
No, I'm sort of suggesting more that if there is businesses, or when there's businesses looking for services, then they can find our co-workers. They can find freelancers. So rather than going to Upwork or Fiverr, where it's actually really price competitive, we brand ourselves, and this is where we need to come in together. We brand ourselves to say, hey, look, don't go to those digital marketing agencies where it's a one-stop. You come to co-working, where we're individuals of our own businesses. You get quality, and we're freelancers. So there is that middle spot there. In terms of the synergy or the energy that we've got between ourselves, we keep that going between ourselves. When we find someone like-minded, then bring them into the team. But it is about having like-minded people within co-working. We've never been about the sort of clear-cut sales. Here's my business card. It's all about the socials. It's about building a nice community where we become really good friends. But one of the strengths between us is that we're about sharing community. We share our knowledge, and that's actually how we all get to progress, and we carry on with that. But the reality is, freelancers need to be making money. They've got to be doing business, and a lot of times that's our core focus in business. And so it's about delivering that for coworkers. We'll certainly pick up more detail on how we do that. It would be good to hear from Joshua's up next. He wants to go on speed dating. Tell us a little bit more about that.
I think from my point of view, the best way to grow the group, obviously we do, as Edward said, we have to go out and do a little bit of marketing, bring us in front of other people. I think the best thing you can do is actually provide something really great for the group that we've got. And as you say, we all need to be, or one of the goals should be that we get to know each other very well. I find that I personally don't know everybody in the group. I know quite a few people, and a few people I've talked to here and there, but actually putting in times that we can actually sit down and get to know each other a little bit better, spend 5 minutes on a video call with everybody in the group at some stage over the course of a couple of weeks, and have that facilitated by the group to help with that. I think it will help us get to know each other a little bit better, get to know what each person does, what their skills are, what they know and don't know, and how to help them and how they can help you in a much more personal way.
Sounds good. And so that's the sort of theme there. It's about having those opportunities to have the one-to-one conversations as well, to hear more, and that's where the idea of the speed dating comes. So good stuff. My wife has got nothing to worry about. So going over to Tazir, in terms of your sort of ideas in terms of growing co-working.
Can you read my message?
Yes, let's go over.
Well, I need to remember, what did I write?
Yes, I see. So one of the things that you put down for yourself is to continue marketing. It's basic content, blogs, articles, and putting content out there.
I think I put 2 comments. One of them, see, the thing is, I think we are not on the same line. I think we are not on the same line like 50 or whatever members we have. We don't actually share. We don't actually have one direction of going for it. That's one of the problems that I see, because I think most of the people are here simply for the social reason. Like people working on their own, and they started putting the group together, and that is how it was. So it was a case of, like David said, that he can come when he has time. I think most of us were treating it like that. When I can come to the innovation center, I'm going to come. I'm going to work with other people. But if you actually want to grow a group, and if there is no commitment or if there is no scalability, I don't think that can work for a long time. So that's why a few of us came and we thought that, yeah, like you said, we need to make money out of it as well. I think, to be fair, that's one way of supporting co-working as well. If we are all better off, not just socially but financially, of course it will be helpful. But it's a case of, I think people just want the social aspect, and for the financial one, we need added commitment. So, for example, when we applied for the Deutsche Bank funding, it was you, me, Ed, and we put Mukhtar on it, isn't it? So the thing with the 4 of us is that we, at least Ed looks at it as a bit more social idea as well, but at least the other 3 of us, we look at it as a bit more of something that we can make money out of in the future, or we can provide more services, or we can improve our businesses or something. What I want from people is, if you want to enjoy, like I have no problem with the social aspect of it, but if you want to enjoy the financial aspect of it, I want each of those people to come and tell us what can they bring to that side of the business, to the social side. So if we are converting this into a platform, for example, in the future, and if you want to put our services on it, you need to clearly say what can you do for the co-working itself, so we can get more people. Because If it was just a social group, then we can just keep inviting people. But if it's a financial group where we want to amplify our services, we need to clearly state what can we bring to the table and how will we actually put together the services. Otherwise, it's all, we are just talking otherwise.
Yeah, that's definitely one aspect. I mean, from our conversations that we're having right now on this platform, I think it's about context as well. And we certainly do enjoy the sociability. But when we look at the Uni sort of survey, I think it's pretty clear from the responses that we've had.
See, I saw the response where it says we need to bring paying customers.
Yeah.
No one has said how are they going to bring the paying customers. We all want more customers, but if you don't want to work for it, they don't just come out of the door,
Yeah, but I mean,
that's what I'm saying. Like we need to clearly define what we can bring to the table, or what kind of services can we push, or what can we bring as a collective, rather than saying I want something. How are we going to actually do it?
Yeah, certainly. But first of all, we've got to confirm on the direction of the take. When we look at growth, I don't know whose mic is on, but I can hear feedback from myself. It might be yours, Tazir. Is it Mukhtar's? In terms of before we sort of go down that, because there are two different paths. One is growing through co-workers, where we're getting more individuals part of the community. Or the second way is that we have a good focus on actually bringing finance into co-working.
So there is little value in continually bringing people if there is no clear direction of why we're bringing them together. If it was just social, we can just keep doing social things. We can do dinners, we can do lunches. If people enjoy that, of course we can do that. We can make better connections that way. But there will be personal connections. Whether we have a business direction out of it, we need to have a direction. We can't assume that we will have a direction. So I like that we are having these conversations, because we need to have a more clear direction of what people want and what are they willing to do to achieve what they want as well.
Yeah, certainly. One of the first things that you said, that we're on different pages in terms of collectively as a group. I'd probably say that we're more on the same wavelength. I mean, that's just looking at some of the stats of Uni and then some of the conversations that's come back from the survey. But over the next month or so, it's going to be the case of actually what can we do collectively, rather than just a few people to say, right, yeah, let's bring in sort of paying clients. It's going to be something that we all have to work on, using our skills to show that actually we can work together, from the branding aspect, from marketing, from content. So there's certainly going to be a lot to do. But I do think that we're more of us on the same page than not. The next person that we've got is Mehdi. One of the things that you've put down is approaching individuals within our networks. It'd be good to hear your aspect there. Just having a look, see if he's with us. May have to come back to him. I can't see him on my list here, so may not have joined. Next here we've got Rekha. Be good to hear from yourself. You've mentioned about more of a collaborative approach as well, where we're offering co-working skills to each other. I don't know if it's my computer, if I've frozen. Rekha, are you with us? Maybe not. I shall come back, and we've got Remy's not here. Rupinder, from yourself, in terms of regular meetups, what are you thinking in terms of growing co-working?
I think after listening to what Tasir just said, I actually agree with that. And when there was a question in the survey saying that what skills can I bring to co-working? So I wasn't aware as to where we are heading and what skills of me can benefit the co-working group. And like which aspect as a designer, how can I be of help? Or even if not as a designer, just as an individual, if it is to get new people in the group, or is it to get a new client in the group? So that is something I think if we all know, or if we, just come to a conclusion that this is what we want to achieve. Like, let's say we have a target 1 month, we are, let's say 10 people. And out of 10 people, every month, we want to get 2 clients in. And those 2 clients might not be headed for each one of us, but maybe let's say those 2 clients are one for marketing, the other for podcasting, okay, then the second month we all have to target on getting a client, probably for a designer and then for a web designer, something like that. I don't know. But if we have like a pointed written down note that this month we are targeting this month we're targeting that, then all of us can head in the same direction, because we know, okay, we just have to find a person who needs digital marketing or something like that. So then it would be of more benefit, and then I think each one of us can definitely put in, because we do have skills, we all are running our own businesses, and yeah, so we are all doing our own thing and we can definitely put in. But the thing is, most of us don't know what we can contribute. So once we know, then we can definitely work into that, and probably we can have meetings to discuss that then, the next time.
Sounds good. Thank you for that. Lila, over to yourself. You've mentioned one of the things is reaching out with more groups.
Yeah, I mean, when you sent the survey, obviously I didn't have all this context, so I'm just thinking about the actual, either the co-working online, but also once we get offline, because also we're not going to be stuck in our houses forever, hopefully. So yeah, that was my thinking when I was filling in the survey, was obviously about growing the co-working part. But yeah, all about get it with Rupinder, was it Rupinder? When she was saying about how getting a clarity or a target of what we're looking for to go towards, and then we can all work together. And I think as well, growing those connections between each other so that we understand more about what we all do. I think also as well, like obviously I feel like a bit of an anomaly because I'm a virtual assistant, but I'm doing podcasting and I'm doing this and I'm doing all those things. And obviously one thing that's coming up for me is because if there's a few of us doing the same things in the group, we don't want to be undercutting each other or that kind of stuff. So I think we have to have a bit of clarity around that too, so that that we are working as a collective, and there's not that kind of fear about what's going on and the pricing and all that kind of stuff.
Sounds good. I definitely agree with that. So it is about not stepping on each other's toes. Sam Alton, we've not heard from you today. I know you joined a little bit later. First of all, it'd be good to hear with what we've been discussing. One of the things that you put down was quality content.
Hello. Is that what I said? I can't remember.
You can change it.
Yeah, I mean, listen to what some of these other guys are saying. I agree. I think with growing this, there's a lot you need to be aware of, and be careful of. I think one of the things for me is I don't know what people are expecting of me, and that might be the same for everybody. I don't know what, as a co-working environment, it started off in my head as a social thing, just people getting together and working together and all that stuff. But over the last couple of months, it's now going down the line of a business and getting clients and this and that. So I mean, I'm all for anything. I just need to know what you need of me personally, and or what everybody needs of each other, and how you go about that in the right way. As you said, people undercutting all that stuff. I mean, that's it from me. I don't know. A little bit more direction might be a good thing, I think. And I can see that you're trying to do that. So just keep working on that and crowdsourcing these ideas, and building these platforms like Muni, which are helping with, people asking questions, answering, and working through them in meetings. I think that's just really important. But also be careful that there will be people that are just here for the social thing, that aren't interested in the more commercial side of it. So you've got to really differentiate it, I think, and be careful with it.
I just want to quickly add here that I second what a lot of people here are saying, which is the lack of clarity in terms of direction. I'm up for co-marketing, I guess that's what we'll call this. I'm seeing that trend picking up actually in the industry. A lot of businesses are coming together to share marketing, given the circumstances and stuff like that. So yeah, I think that is a very good idea. Like Sam was just saying, I just think if we're gonna go down that route, then you know, there's things we need to get clear about. Do you want duplicate services? How big of a group do you want to have? Are we going to contribute towards marketing, stuff like that? So there's a lot of I think we need to get clear about direction, and then I think Hamid has mentioned already, get about how we are going to execute on that strategy.
Yeah, for sure. In terms of responses, that's the lot. It would be good to sort of discuss more. I am going to.
I think you've just muted yourself. I'm going to point it out because I think everyone's wondering that. But Hami, I think you just muted yourself. Pop it back on.
It just
It
says
said Savi did it. Savi got tired of listening to that.
By accident.
Thanks for that. Otherwise, I would have gone on there for a couple of minutes there. I was just saying that's the lot in terms of the surveys, the responses that I've had. And it would be good to hear more from others and sort of turn it into a conversation point. But from my side here, in terms of the way I see it, is that the social aspect's not going to change. And yeah, it's not going to be for everyone. But as business people, we're marketing. We're already doing our marketing, and the point is that if we do it together, then it's a lot more. It's exponential, and it's kind of like the project that we've been doing with the email marketing on the side. By putting our marketing together, it's exponential growth for everyone. But at the same time, it's not going to be the case for everyone. The social aspect's going to carry on. So when we're going to Nando's, when we're having fun, and we're doing some of the food, and we're just meeting up generally. We've played poker, we've done the LCB meals. That's never going to change. And actually, that's one of the biggest parts that are different to other freelancers, is that there aren't communities like this. Most of the time, freelancers are by themselves. Whereas we're putting the freelancers together, we're putting individuals together. So what I'm going to do is turn off the recording,